What it is?
If you want to use it, it's all yours.
Good.
Underserved areas that are just being raped and dirtbag.
Already,
Healthcare is.
I think, a few people are still standing outside, but that's okay, we'll get started. And, something special about today's, program right now is that, this is a live streaming to the world, okay? So I have people, coming in, through, YouTube live streaming from all the way from South Korea. Along with, actually, there's somebody from South America also wanting to join, so they registered, so actually, this will be live streaming to all of the world. Without further ado, I'm going to start. My name is Han Ko, and I'm president and CEO of USAKO Group. And I'm so glad to be here again because Venture Cafe, I've been a Venture Cafe, I guess in a way, veteran because I've been at Venture Cafe so many years, but with the obvious pandemic, I couldn't come for the last few years and I missed a lot. I mean, of course, I attended online, but anyway, so it's really glad to be back here and honored to be here. And thanks so much for taking your time out to join our program tonight. I'm going to start with a couple of pictures, and then you'll see several pictures throughout the slides. My slides, they're prepared. And these are pictures, all the pictures that either myself or my staff or my associate took. So I just want to give you a heads up. On the left right here, this is a picture taken in Venture Cafe 2018. Okay, so you notice nobody wearing mask. So that's that. And then to the right, this is a picture taken in 2019 in Seoul, South Korea. Okay, so this was this picture reflecting me with Vice Chancellor of KAIST. KAIST is the university, MIT, high-tech university in South Korea. And I'll tell you why I'm showing these pictures. So the topic that the Venture Cafe gave me was expanding your business with South Korea. Okay, so go global, expanding your business venture with South Korea. Okay, and actually it was perfectly when JP, the director, talked to me. It was like perfectly in line with tonight's topic because in April, a few weeks ago, we brought 5 companies from South Korea to St. Louis area. Okay, so again, pictures. These are the pictures took April, I think 8th, April 4th, I think. So they were here. These are delegates from all the way from South Korea, and then they stayed here for a week. And then picture on the right is a picture taken with the economic development area in St. Louis and Illinois. So these 5 companies came to South Korea, and I'll tell you all about it and what's the opportunity, what's the value for us to explore. Okay, about me, I'm going to tell you just a little bit about me. I'm a founder and president of CEO of USAKO Group, basically an international investment company. And then I'm basically, by trade, I'm an investor and a mentor with engineering background. Okay, so I'm involved with multiple venture funds, like MVP, Trainland Ventures, about $70 million fund in WFX. They specialize in minority and female, and this is about $15 million. Not very large, but still very active and managed by Morgan Stanley. And then part of Capital Innovators, as you probably know, Capital Innovators used to be across the hallway from here. So, and then other organizations. And then I'm involved with the multiple other investors, involved with the investing and founding multiple other investment startup companies as well. And then I closely work with the local economic development organizations like Chamber of Commerce and other stuff. And also I serve as a faculty member at one of the universities locally. And along with that, economic development in St. Louis County and Southern Illinois, I work closely with them. So you know my background. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to talk about tonight. So what we do, what does the USAKO Group do? What can we learn and gain out of? And then also about the global USAKO Group program that ran from April 4th through 8th. And then also Untitled 5 South Korean companies visit St. Louis. Okay. So you can kind of gauge the activity that our market gets engaged in international perspective. Okay, so USAKO, what do we do? We're basically an international investment company, operating in USA and then South Korea mostly. And I live here, so I consider USA St. Louis to be headquartered here. But we have other offices in other towns. I'll go over that later. And the portfolio, the companies we invest in mostly US companies, but we have some South Korean company and a few European companies as well. And we're trying to be a solid bridge between USA and South Korea. Okay, so there's something unique about our company, USAKO Group. We're official global partner of South Korean government. So what does that mean? We do have official relationship with especially like the city of Seoul, capital, and then other provincial government, Jeollabuk-do, Jeollanam-do, and then other cities. Ulsan is like Detroit, okay, if you will. Ulsan is the hub of Hyundai automobile, okay, and then along with the other universities. So when we are global partner, we do actually project. The project we did earlier last month, global program is actually co-hosted by my company and Seoul, city of Seoul. Okay, so that's one example. Okay, well, offices, presence. So as you see, St. Louis. I try to show the actual pictures we took. This was a picture in 2018 when high professionals came to South Korea. Actually, we have one gentleman standing right here. This gentleman came to South Korea with me under this program, 2019 actually. Correct, 2019, right? So that's office right there. And then, by the way, I'm going to have a panel discussion toward the end. So we have a panel. He's going to be one of the panels. I'm going to introduce them later. I'm just trying to embarrass you, that's all. St. Louis, well, you see the picture already. Adventure Cafe. And then we have a small office in LA and Houston. So we're trying to try to our presence in more diversified way. And we do have an office in Seoul, South Korea. So what is Go Global with the USAKO Group, the program we do? And then we've been doing it, and also we did in April. So it's an annual program. We do this every year. And last several years, we've been teamed up with the city of Seoul, South Korean government. Worked out really good. So for the April case, we actually received about 100 applicants, and then we actually vetted them. The South Korean government vetted them, and we did our due diligence, and then we selected down to 5, and then we actually brought them over here to USA. Right? So and their goal is obviously expand the operation to USA, and then be successful. And these companies we actually invest in. Okay? So we have another working. We have our skin in the game with them. Okay, so. And then these 5 companies represent the various sectors of the industry to reflect the current trend, and also our Midwest market as well. And when was it? On the right of the poster, you see that April 4th through 8th, the whole week. There will be a whole week. Okay, well, again, I believe that the picture here says downward. So I'll show you a lot of pictures, okay? I'm not putting, the text-heavy information on the slide. So on the left, this is a picture taken 2019, right, for pandemic. And this picture taken 2019. This is actually about a dozen professionals came to South Korea. And see that gentleman in the middle? Told you about? That's the gentleman right there. Yeah, this is Jeff Wade. I'll tell you what he's doing later on. He's doing something very interesting. And then on the right, this is actually 2019 World Trade Center. And now fast forward, last month, on the left, this is a picture of a meeting with the Department of Commerce, state of Illinois. The lady to my right in white dress, she's the director of Department of Commerce in Illinois. So she came down from Chicago actually to work with us. So they are serious about it as well. And then on the right, it's the World Trade Center we visited that week, and this picture from there. So we work with a lot of different various economic development organizations. And then a couple more pictures. America Central Port, Illinois, Granite City. They invited us for a talk. So we did. We're still working with them. And because of a few companies are in manufacturing sector, very heavy manufacturing sector, and I'll tell you about it. And so they're very interested in what we're doing, so they invited us to talk. And then to the right, it's Illinois, it's called Southwest Illinois Trade and Investment Council, which I'm part of actually. And then they hosted a meeting for us, and we actually met with them. Okay, so the goal of this program is basically simple: to bring U.S. and South Korean market closer by sharing investment and soft landing pad. Okay, and then USAKO Group it's a for-profit company, but we have a lot of non-profit element to it. I live here, of course. I want the best for our market, so our philosophy is to make a contribution to our market economy, so that we all become successful. So that our market in St. Louis and Charles and Southern Illinois. So we try to share investment, training, mentoring, consulting, networking in multiple industries. Okay, so then what is the value in South Korea and Greater St. Louis? We can share each other. Okay. So I usually just want to know a little bit more about it, right? So South Korean market is very unique in a way that it's a very have strong interest and willingness to make a market globalization and then boost the economy as well as job creation. This is actually a picture taken. I think Jeff is in there still too, right? 2019. Keep going back to Jeff because I see him in the picture.
I can see Gary too.
Oh yeah, that's right, Gary. He's not here, but Gary here too. Yeah. So this is a picture from the meeting we had with a South Korean government officer. We talked about what kind of opportunities the South Korean government can provide to foreign startups. Okay, so there are multiple opportunities throughout the year. Because of the pandemic, they kind of suspended for a little bit. They're actually just starting. I think this month in May. Full year, I got a word from them. So usually what it is that it's in the form of a grant and then also subsidy for office rent and then along with the other soft landing pad, which is the mentoring network in Korea. Okay. So in other words, if you're a startup interested in entering South Korean market, there are a lot of ways you can get support from South Korean government and then the market as well. Okay. So I want to usually go over the advantage of South Korean market. For those of you who are not really familiar with South Korean market, I'll give you some motivating factors to it. So first, as I mentioned, that there's a tremendous support from government sector, and then and also the grant and other support system to boost its economy by globalization. But not just government sector; it's actually private sector, Samsung to all the way to Hyundai. They have their own fund. Actually, our company works closely with them, so they are actually always looking for companies with the innovation and bring value to the market. They are interested in working with them, regardless they are Korean or not. Okay. And I usually tell them about the test that South Korean could be a good test market for your product or services. The reason is that Korean consumers are very high have a very high expectation. Okay, and then in other words, they want to have good service, good product in a fast pace. It's really hard to please, and seriously. So whenever I have an office in Korea, as I explained to you, whenever I go, I notice that the food or other services, you have to provide the right kind so that they like it in the right time. Because otherwise, they'll just walk away. Okay? So, for example, the Samsung and Motorola are the good two mobile companies that you know. The Samsung, of course, is still big, so everybody knows. And when before they release their new brand, they usually pre-release in South Korean market, and then they will kind of get a feedback because if they can please South Korean market, they most likely will be successful in anywhere else in the world. Okay, and the Motorola, they're not really strong anymore, but more or less the exact same thing when they were top. Because they were pre-released their new model in South Korean market so that they can test their water in a more efficient way. Okay. So that's a good test market. So in other words, the product cycle and service cycle is a lot quicker. Okay, because if you, in other words, consumers in South Korea will tell you that if you don't like it, in the USA maybe around 6 months to a year, they'll tell you about 3 months to 6 months, they'll tell you, we don't like it, and then, so you have to. So in other words, they get a lot of indicator and global stage. And US and Western friendliness, as you know, South Korea is one of the biggest ally of in Asia with the USA. So we have about 27,000 servicemen actually in Korean Peninsula right now. So pretty good ties. If you enter South Korean market, you'll be you want to walk into an area where at least you're at least welcome and then feeling friendliness, right? So that's what I'm saying. And then economy and then IP, intellectual property is very secured and then also highly respected. So that's good. So in other words, it's not like you walk into another market that you don't know about and you have what you filed a patent that doesn't mean anything. 12 months from now, somebody else making it, selling it, you lose your opportunity when nothing you can do about it. And it's not like that. So, okay, so now, also talent, you've heard a term called tiger mom, right? In Asian tiger mom. So that equate to the skill, the talent, the workforce. And also geographically, it's an Asian gateway to Asian market because right next to Japan, China, and Russia. So it's like geographically, they're very accessible. Okay, well, more opportunities. So, grant I told you about, right? So throughout the year, before pandemic, South Korean government had multiple programs, grant program actually. Usually, I get closely involved because my company is a global partner of South Korean government. So I'm usually my company become a pre-screening process. So I'm usually the first one. So in the future you're interested in, you can follow our webpage or Facebook or LinkedIn, and then usually we post it on there. Okay, so we've done that a few times already, and then the back before pandemic, and then since they're starting this, I believe that they're gonna more opportunities will roll in. And then also Korean market is good for networking because the market is very globalized already, and because of the example that I have is that the Seoul Startup Hub, it's actually the largest startup hub in South Korea. They have about 500 startups there, and they have startup companies from all over the world, from USA to even all the way to Kenya. Actually, he has an office right above mine, and Philip his name, and actually from Kenya, he's in South Korea. He fell in love with culture, started to stay, so he started a startup, and he started an e-commerce platform for foreigners. Very successful guy. And I put in the middle, failed the startup supporting grant program. It's very unique. The government actually is spending money for failed startups. Okay, so in other words, if you try something, didn't work out, they want you to come back and try again. Okay, with a different angle. Okay, so there is a set aside budget for it for those account people. So to be qualified, you have to be failed the startup. Is that interesting? Yeah. So that whole floor, at the fourth floor, they have a section for that, just for the failed startup. So they are actually invited to be a cohort. And then along with the other program and startup session and then consulting and all that other services. Okay, so I'm gonna skip this slide. So memberability, we have multiple members from our region. Actually, we have 2 sets of talents on our board from obviously USA and another set in South Korea. So anytime you try to enter South Korean market, we have attorney, South Korean attorney can help you with the immigration law. You're gonna go through the immigration law first of all, whether you go in there or coming in. So vice versa. And then if you want to talk about crypto mining, well, we have when you enter, we have expert sitting in this room, right there, back there, Jeff. Same thing, vice versa. Okay, so, and the field are where venture capital investments can help you in that perspective, and also management and risk analysis along with the other stuff. So our goal is to provide soft landing pad to US and South Korea, basically. So without further ado, those 5 companies I'll keep mentioning, what are those? So first company, actually 2 panel members are invited, who I'll introduce in a few minutes. They already met them, but we select these companies in the context of current trend. Okay, so for example, first company is called Dawa. It's a ESG environmental solution company by reducing disposables. So in other words, if you buy a cup of coffee from Starbucks in the morning, you get a to-go cup, right? And then you actually throw away when you're done, right? Well, where it goes to either gets a trash burn facility or landfill. And in South Korea, they already have a law in place that you have to reduce the stuff. Starbucks in South Korea has to reduce that amount by a certain percentage, otherwise you get fined. Okay, it's already law will kick in next month, June 1st, I believe. So this company now has a solution. Not only that, they will also have a ability to track the reusable containers, but most importantly, they'll provide ability to measure carbon footprint. Okay, so carbon credit is a buzzword these days, right? We'll all have to go there, whether we like it or not, right? Because we're back to Paris Accord, right? We went back in there, right? So reducing the carbon footprint. Let's say you're the owner of a decision-making process in Starbucks. You have to know how much carbon you're producing. Therefore, you can compare to previous year. This is how much reduced you can present to government. Okay, because it's a business responsibility. Government is not going to tell you. You have to do it in a legitimate way. So this company has a solution for that, and based on the form of hardware, software, and then the platform. Okay, so this is a company that very unique company in a way that they actually can service these companies. They can service all multiple sectors of the industry. Actually, right now they're focusing on food and beverage industry, but they're focusing on multiple. And then they also do have a crypto element for reward system, because if you want to customers to bring your tumbler back, okay, because again, when you use a tumbler, you're not washing, you give it back to them, okay, but just give it back. I'm not drive all the way to give it back, right? I have to be motivated. So they have a system in place that if I return my cup, I get something back, okay? It's a part of ecosystem. They create a whole ecosystem, whole vertical actually. Okay? Anyway, Sayara Street, it's a blockchain-based software platform company for real estate transaction. And this is very simple in a way that if you own a say large condo in Dubai, want to sell it to British businessman, you basically go through all the transactions on our platform, and in the end, you can actually do a funding through, of course, fiat money, US dollars, or British pound, or your own cryptocurrency of your choice, which is like a Bitcoin or Ethereum, whatever. And they actually issue their own token as well. Actually, I'm intimately involved as a founder as well, so I know this company really well. So that's that. It's a blockchain-based platform. And then My Price Live is an e-commerce software company for online marketplace for patent awarded. All these, by the way, have some kind of patent IP in place already. And so My Price Live is actually geared toward younger generation, millennium to Z generation, and they're doing that. And then so fourth one, Tail Industry is high-tech manufacturing company for heavy machinery. They actually, customer includes already Volvo, Samsung, Doosan, and then Bobcat. They all include all of those. So actually, they're considering building facility in our area. And then ImageWorks is a high-tech image printing company. Their customer includes Coca-Cola, Kodak, and then also the Hollywood movie industry, such as Top Gun, and then Transformer. They're all their customers actually. And recently they released a product for BTS, the Korean, they printed like 300,000, sold in less than 12 hours. And then so it was a very high tech 3D image material. Okay? And I'm gonna just to flash by these slides real quick because I prepared a little more material than usual, just in case. And so that's that. And then for Dawa, okay, this is the slide I told you about. This is actually a solution for our landfill. Okay, and here's my price slide. All right, so now I'm gonna stop talking. I relatively talk really fast because I want to allow some questions, Q&As, and then also these two gentlemen. So if you two gentlemen come up here, Joe Smiley, and then Mr. Jeff Wade, come up here. These are two of my panel discussion members. And the reason I invite them as a panel discussion members are they actually met this cohort that I'm going over. And I am biased because I select them. I've been selecting them from the very beginning. And then also, I invested my skin in the game, right? So of course I'm gonna say just good things about it. But I want them to share their perspective on all this, and then what they think of it. So I wanna, and they're investors in this area. So first of all, Jeff, Mr. Jeff Wade, he's an entrepreneur, just like you and I, okay? So, thanks. And we're trying to live stream around the world here, right? So there are people from Korea watching this too, and then probably a couple in South America. Anyway, so Mr. Jeff Wade right here, he currently has a company called the Crypto World, okay? It's in St. Charles, and have geared toward the crypto and mining and anything you need to know about it, talk to him. And he's got an actual store fund, so he's got a good business model going, and then company name is Crypto World, okay? So if you don't mind to give a round of applause for him, he took time out. And on his left, Mr. Joel Smiley, he's a high professional. If you're interested in doing some kind of real estate project or any kind of a venture, talk to him first. He'll find a way he'll find the grant money for you at no charge, okay, from Uncle Sam or any other company, right? So he's got expertise in that, okay? So his company name is Attracting Resource, right? So he has his team working very hard. He's got decades of experience in that, in TDD, you know, in development and all that, right? So he's a go-to person as well. So another round of applause for. All right. So I prepared a question for them. So I'm gonna go ahead take a look at it and then read it to them, if you don't mind. Give me a second here. Okay, so for Joel, so my question to you is this: what was your experience with the South Korean companies? That he had a pretty well, I don't want to call it privilege, but I don't know how he thinks of it. He had a chance to meet him twice, two different meetings in St. Louis when they were here. Okay, so what are your experiences with them in two different meetings? Their visit.
From a tax credit perspective, we met with them to hear their ideas, talk about what their projects look like, and from a tax credit perspective, I think it's going to be a great fit to add jobs and investment here in the U.S. If I can mention, we did the same in 2019, right before the pandemic. Han also brought 3 companies in from South Korea. And just as we were getting them organized, the pandemic hit and those went away. So these 5 companies we think have got real great potential here in the U.S.
Thank you. So what do you think, Mr. Jeff Wade? And please tell us also, again, I want to make sure you tell us a little bit about what you do in the crypto space, because I think crypto is a buzzword these days.
Yeah, it was exciting having them visit Crypto World, you know, with South Korea and the new president. I think President Yoon is the new president, but he's big into blockchain technology, big into crypto, and I feel like crypto is growing roughly 116% year over year. And it's a technology that's surpassing the internet. Yeah, so crypto is growing faster than internet the first 10 years. The internet the first 10 years grew 63% year over year. In crypto, in the first 10 years, is growing 116%. So it's a technology that's going into all industries, and to have the 3 Korean companies visit our store and to talk about, well, there's 5 companies, but 3 of them focused on blockchain technology, but to have them speak about what they're doing, I think it was great having them because the U.S. really, they're starting to be more open to this technology. But South Korea is a little more advanced, and to be able to hear from them and what they're doing, I think it's amazing.
Right. Actually, so to elaborate a little bit more, second day they were here, Tuesday, I believe, the crypto world invited them because, like I said, 3 of them has a heavy crypto in too. Yes, right now, they actually, for those of you who haven't really paid attention to crypto space, now's the time because all these business models, yeah, I'm an investor, I'm a VC. I know what the trend is. And a lot of these companies have an adding an element of crypto because market wants it. Yes, I'll be honest with you, the Tariffs Street I got involved. I started about 2 years ago. At the beginning, I didn't want to do anything to do with crypto because of stigma, right? To be honest with you. But when I started working with people in the industry, everybody is asking me, your blockchain, where is the crypto element? I didn't have it. Well, you should have it. So I actually to a point where I was probably nudged into going that, and then I'm very glad I did that. I made a decision about a year ago, and then so that's why we issued a token, and then our token is already listed and trading right now. So that was not our business model, but we had to because there was market wants. Okay, so that's why. Yeah, but
What's your token?
oh, me? That's Sahara.
Are you on CoinMarketCap?
No, we're not. Actually, I'm not sure. Actually, we only started listing about a couple months ago. So, I'm not sure. We are trading on one of the exchanges. Actually. Yeah. But anyway, that's what we do, and so that's why we were happy to visit the crypto world in St. Paul store, and then yeah. So again, if you haven't been there, you should check out the store.
Yeah, it's the first crypto brick-and-mortar store in the world. We opened it August of last year, not really knowing what we were going to do with it. You know, it was just a passion of ours. But it's been 7 months. We have a list of 30 letters of intents that want to open up similar stores all over the U.S., not outside the U.S. too. Mexico, South Korea. We had a couple guys visit from Panama. We had some El Salvador. So it's something that we focus on education, but our main revenue stream is in the mining, the hosting, and and also staking. Yes.
Is that like a Scott Trade Center?
No, we're not. We don't give financial advice. We're mainly we focus more on support and educating, but as far as in the revenue side, we focus more on equipment and infrastructure. Yeah.
So I'm a digital asset and blockchain consultant. I'm an admin with MintySwap. We've gotten a lot of funding right now. Our market cap's about $4 million. You said you were a venture capitalist. What, I guess, are you guys still looking to invest in different companies? When we were down in Miami, we had 2 venture capitalist firms show interest in us. One had $400 million worth of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and the other one had $70 million worth of USDC and Ethereum. We have about a $400,000 investment coming in this week to buy our token. Is that something that you guys would be interested in, or if we?
Yeah, look, we're in the space, might as well, yeah, we can talk about, afterwards, yeah. And then, also need to connect with them as well.
And, yeah.
Yeah, I was at the Bitcoin 2022 also, so.
Yeah, I missed Bitcoin 22. I was at Miami NFT though. It was like with Mark Cuban and all those guys.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Sweet. Yeah. So now, I want to ask you Joel's opinion on something here. So the way that the work that Joel is doing is very unique in a way, like I told you, right? Can you pick an example of the work you did for one of the projects that was really successful? That was the one project in your life, right?
Well, I'll talk about cryptocurrency and
it doesn't have to be just crypto space here, but,
sure. We'll talk about crypto. And I can't get specific names because of confidentiality. But one of the things we do in economic development is to identify tax credit opportunities. And we were brought in from a California company to look at a project in Wyoming. It was going to be a crypto mining operation backed by new renewable energy. The state was a little difficult to work with. We received the opening bid was around a $2 million tax credit. We told our client that there's a ton of states out there that are more open to your business. The state that they chose is an East Coast state that's going to issue about a $20 million tax credit. So working with states to find out what their niche is, working to see how the local governments work with the states, something that we can do. We've been very successful in that.
So it's interesting that our U.S. government, we are from federal to a state level, actually a lot of state level, right? They are paying a lot of attention to crypto space. So yeah, I mean, when you talk to this gentleman, Joel is actually, he's from economic development and development background, right? You know, and then Jeff is another entrepreneur background, but they both, their common ground is crypto. We're not here to talk about crypto, but I just thought it interesting that just come up, you know. Again, anytime when I have discussion, when I say blockchain, this discussion coming up, okay? I mean, I didn't plan it, okay, so you know, I didn't plan to sell crypto here, that's not what we're here for at all, but that's the conversation, the direction of the conversation will anytime, so that's what it is, so yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, so is part of your interest trying to get manufacturing in Korea? And if the answer is yes, how are you dealing with supply chain issues? What does the supply chain look like
Good.
from because you're outside
Right.
CONUS, right?
Very good question, actually. Because of time, I moved the slide really fast, but if I go back up there, I'll show you this. See that TAM industry and then Image Works right here? These two companies came specifically to USA for their reason. Okay. TAM industry, I told you about, they make parts for heavy machinery industry. I told you about Volvo, their customers include Volvo, Bobcat, and then Doosan and Hyundai, all big companies, right? And now they had to pay the price dearly because of pandemic, supply chain, right? What they're doing is they're buying scrap metals from all over the world, and then 50% of them are come from 60% come from USA. They're actually getting it from Long Beach, California. Okay, when the founder was here, actually after we're done meeting, he actually flew to California to Long Beach to do his business, right? So right now, what's happening is that he brings scrap metal all the way to South Korea from USA, do their production, sell it back to USA. Was not a problem until pandemic hit, right? So now they're here to find out that it's see if they can make a US out of make US of their global hub. Okay. Second company I told you about, Image Rd, same way. This is a printing company I told you about, right? Their product is high-tech printing companies and 3D images, posters, all that. Same thing. Their special material, printing material, that comes from very important from USA. Supply chain almost shut them down, so they had a very severe difficulties. Now I give you example of BTS, right? BTS, guess the BTS army, you heard about the term, right? Guess which country has the biggest army defender base? USA. So BTS, when they make just 300,000 star card, they import material, some of material, probably about 30% of the vital material from USA, produced in Korea, sending back to USA. Okay, because they said about 60% were bought by Americans online, probably within 12-hour window, I told you. So it's natural for them to think that, wait a minute, we got this kind of problems of the supply chain, so we have to do something about it, so they're trying to come to USA. That's exactly it. You just get that.
So they're adding manufacturing here in the US.
So, correct, yeah, they're trying to establish manufacturing base in USA, and then might as well try to make a global business hub out of USA, because the US market is a lot easier to access global market than the South Korea. So, yeah, that's excellent. Good question, yeah. Yes, sir, yeah.
So I like the idea of using Korea as a test bed for some products and services. What would be the most effective marketing method in South Korea?
What will be the most effective marketing?
Yeah, marketing method, like social media, some mass advertisements,
So,
sponsorships.
right, so I'm going to repeat the question because some people on the YouTube probably not direct. The question was that he likes the idea of using South Korean Peninsula, South Korean market as a test bed market, and what is the best way to access the market, right? Answer is yes, social media. South Korea is very wired. They're actually very, very wired in a way that, everybody got a cell phone, right? And that's not just one example. There is no place you cannot have internet, okay? Well, they intentionally started this invest money about 20 years ago, so they're creating price. And one example is that when I on a ship, not a big ship, they actually provide internet. I don't know how they do that. So they're doing that. So it's very wired country. So anytime when you do the wired platform, social media, it can be very successful. In a way, they're doing, especially Millennium Korea got their own Millennium to Z generation growing up, right? Getting older, right? So they are driving the economy and they're making decisions. So they're heavily dependent on this mobile to different wired services. Good question. Anyone want to know? How many have you been to South Korea actually? If you been there? Okay. Yeah, you service there. Okay. There. Are you from there? You been there? No. Are you from there? Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. So, anybody who want to visit? Oh, okay.
We'll go back.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a market you want to pay attention because of opportunity that can present, like I said, and I believe that I have a Korean heritage that you probably can tell. Okay? So that's why I have a office there. And I know I'm a bilingual, bicultural person, so I can blend right in. So I'm a little probably biased, but if you know the game, it's very easy to be successful and use the resource because the market is very dynamic and then also fast paced. You get the result really quick as a business owner. You want to, not just money, but the time, right? If you want to test your product service, it takes so long, if you keep sinking the money, it's not a good solution, right? It's not a good strategy, right? But it's that span is a lot shorter over there. People's dynamic mentality. All right, any other questions? Yes, sir. Yeah.
What's the policy on tariffs
Tariffs,
between
yeah.
U.S. and
Yeah.
Korea?
Well, U.S. and South Korea has a very friendly tariff. They have a lot of them in common, right? About that technology, they're part of this the tariff treaties, right? In the past, yeah, there were some frictions, like a steel. When U.S. we try to guard our steel industry, Korea did the same thing, right? But that was like 20 years ago. Now, also South Korea is not they're probably the 10th largest economy in the world, and a little bigger than Russia. Actually, Russia was 12th and South Korea was 10th. I read articles on it. So they know that they have to rely on bigger markets such as U.S. and China, right? So luckily for them, U.S. is their ally. Okay, so also obviously, United States, we actually have a little more. I guess I don't want to compare here, but in terms of strategy, we do a little more what do you call it, fair competition So luckily, they are, I call them lucky because after Korean War, if you look at the history, agriculture has got a culture, agriculture has its own history, the history integrated with culture, right? So after Korean War, they become part of the U.S. Dependent upon the U.S. economy, so they worked out good. But then still, they try to also balance international geopolitical perspective. They also try to balance between Russia, China, and U.S. And they're always trying to do that. But they know which side they have to rely on. Comes down to because of that itself. But
Your Southern Illinois focus, is that mostly East Metro, or is it other parts of Southern Illinois you're involved in?
yeah, so St. Clair County, Monroe County, those different counties, Southern Illinois, right? So those counties actually, that's have you been to Rock City before? No, okay, Rock City is also another one we visited. Sometimes I didn't put a picture up there, but yeah, those are good market. And as a person who live here in the greater St. Louis area, I'm really proud of what we can offer because, like I said, when I travel to other countries, including Korea, I promote our market. And when I sit down, give you these details, like we talked about with someone earlier today, just about half an hour ago. The cash burn rate. A lot of times when you try to bring companies to USA, they're saying that, let's check out San Francisco City Company. Of course, good. Go ahead, try to compare. All right, now the cash burn rate is at least 3 times 5 faster than St. Louis. I guarantee it. Because I used to have an office in San Francisco. I know. So when I sit down and show them numbers and infrastructure, it's no brainer. A lot of times, especially manufacturing side, that's why I brought them here because I want to make sure that they have a good understanding what is there. It comes down to their choice. I'm their investor, but it comes down to they make a final decision. But I want to make sure they provide all the options they can make a choice for their business. Right? So that's actually what we're practicing. Hey, JP, is there another session after this one? No? Okay. Well, we're not really bound time because there's something that could leave, but we're about time. Any questions? And if you want to stick around, talk to me or Jeff or Joel, we're here. And
So we're under a meeting.
Hey, how you doing?
Very interested my other partner is building 5 megawatts. So yeah, I'd love to.
Senator Juice here.